So, hello everybody. Hopefully this is going to work today. At least we hope so. I don't think it's not the right one. I know that's not the right video. You know, it always takes just a second to get this loaded and going. Day 9, here we are. Can you believe that? It's day 9 already of our quarantine in the studio. Well, it's been longer than 9 days, but
11.
This is our 9th live video.
13 days.
Well, it's been longer than 13 days.
Technically, they were all self-quarantined, and now it's officially been 3 days.
Oh, that's true.
4 days. 3
All right, so while we've got everybody kind of coming on and everything like that, I just want to say, you know, these are live videos, so they're very unscripted and come what may, and sometimes it's a little mayhap, sometimes it's a little off topic, even though I try to keep it on topic. If you have not noticed, I have one child who is very ADHD, so if those kind of things bother you guys, you may want to not do the live videos, but actually go to my other videos. There's over 230 of them. There are more coming. We've got, as a matter of fact, I uploaded 2 yesterday that are talking about some new tools from Fordham. And so, we have a few things like that are there as well. So, if you guys don't mind the mayhem that comes along with my children and the additional conversation, then these videos might be good for you, and there will be stuff to learn. There will be stuff to learn.
Can I change you something with this?
What?
Can I change you something with this?
I guess you can. So today what I would like to do is I wanted to talk a little bit about maintaining your tools, because that is something that's quite... Welcome, Louise. Look at that. You got your puppies and unicorns.
Yay!
So I want to talk about maintaining the tools, because oftentimes in your studio, as you are using them, you will start to see dings and rust and scratches and things like that. So those are all things that need to be addressed. And it's something that you should do often and keep your tools up to par. Because when you have dings and dents and nicks and whatever else in your tools, especially hammers and bench blocks, and your pliers even, those marks are going to transfer to your metal. And that either means you have to redo your piece, you have to redesign your piece, or you have to spend a lot of time cleaning it up. So the best thing to do in the first place is to get rid of all of those, make sure your tools look good, and then you can kind of just start to work and not have to worry about that additional cleanup because you've accidentally textured things and whatnot. So those are some of the things that we are going to be talking about. So Ellen, did you know that we used to live in Ohio? A matter of fact, Kiari was born in Ohio. And Kate, we moved to Ohio when Kate was like 10 weeks old. Yes, I moved to Ohio with a 2.5-month-old baby. Yeah. That was a fun move. So, and Louise, thank you. I'm glad that you guys like me. I enjoy doing the videos. They're definitely, the live videos are more difficult for me. I'm used to having things nice, neat, orderly. I mean, you guys have seen my videos. You know what they're like. And so to throw the girls into it is definitely a new dimension for all of us. But I figured it would be good for the girls because, one, they get to learn what it is that I'm doing and how to use the tools properly and to learn the techniques. And, you know, eventually I'll have studio slaves.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. John, thank you. I'm so glad that there's no lagging. Again, on my end, I do see some lagging. So, I'm glad to hear that it's not. So that's very good. So thank you for the feedback on that. Hopefully, I mean, everybody must have audio. Nobody says I don't have audio, so I think we're good there today too. So first thing I want to do is talk about, welcome Bobby. It's good to see you again. I'm going to kind of address some maintenance on the bench blocks. And in my studio, I have a number of bench blocks. I have some that are harder than others. Now the hard ones are going to be really nice. Like my Pepe tool bench blocks, these guys are really nice. They're nice and hard. And so if you happen to have a rogue hammer strike, I'm not too worried about the surface of my block getting marked up. But I also have blocks that are very soft, and I don't know if you guys can see how bad this is or not. This one is very, very, very dinged up, and it's actually not even my worst one. I do have softer blocks as well. So when you have those softer ones, that rogue hammer strike, or even sometimes if you're just hammering on a piece, you can start to mar and ding that up. Now the same thing happens to hammer faces. And I couldn't find a hammer. Well, I did find one, and it's like a little junker hammer that I use to hit. Remember when I did the anti-clastic and the synclastic bracelets with the bill fret stuff? I use this hammer to knock those stakes up and out of the holder. Nice. So this one has a lot of dings. These hammers are a little softer, and I definitely would not want to use a nice hammer to knock those stakes out of that holder. So that's definitely something. Bobby, I totally want studio slaves. I have an ulterior motive here.
No.
Heck yeah.
You don't get them.
Oh, yes, I will. Whatever. You've been doing everything I've asked you to all day long.
Not really.
I've got the wool pulled over on her eyes, don't I? All right, so what we're going to do, and this is something that I learned when I took some classes at the University of Akron when we did live in Ohio. And I remember at the end of the semester, oh my gosh, those tools were in terrible condition. And so as part of our grade, we each had to spend a couple of hours in the studio refinishing hammer faces. One of my jobs was the anvil. Oh, that one hurt the ears. Definitely when you're doing some of these, especially the hammer faces and stuff like that, I would highly suggest that you have ear protection. Okay, because it does get a little bit loud, and I'm not quite sure how this is going to work here on the video as far as the sound goes, so I apologize right from the get-go here. So let me move a couple of things here because I'll show you guys. My bench top here is totally loaded because I want to show you how to do a ton of different things. So first thing I'm going to do, and actually I'm going to do this bigger block. I think it might be a little bit easier. Oh, look, Kiari finally decided to join us. What? She wanted to change sides with you. All right, so what I'm going to do, and I haven't even zoomed in on this, and you guys can see how bad this block is, but let me zoom in a little bit here. Maybe. Oh, wrong remote. Hang on. Now let me zoom in. All right, so as I get closer to this, you guys can see, I mean, look at how bad this is. So this is a very, very soft block. This one's not been heat treated for hardness. And so as such, I usually use this one more of a layout one. And it's also the one that I have my girls use when they're doing stuff because their hammer strikes are the ones that are doing all of this. So what I want to do is I want to take a planishing hammer, and in this case, you can see my planishing hammer is not 100% polished right there. You can see that little bit of a shadow on that. Okay, so this is not a high polish at the moment, and part of that is because of I was trying to resurface some of these items a little bit earlier. Oh look, Louise said happy unicorn day, Kiari.
Thank you.
All right, no, don't put no, we don't want food here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a spot on here, and this one happens to have a lot of dings, and I'm actually going to start to planish this out. Hence we're using the planishing hammer. I'm using the rounded side on this. Now, I don't know if you guys can see that well on this video or not, but this is starting to get a little bit lighter. So what I'm doing is I'm starting to spread that metal out. You can see tings? Is that our new term for these, tings?
I can see Bobby. That
All right.
was like a
So
when you hit it, it's like a tick, and then
yeah,
it really hurts me.
it is kind of loud, isn't it?
That one only had 13. That one got 12 again.
Yeah, I think that's just going to happen because our internet connection is bad and everything. So welcome back to those of you guys. I know it's sorry we dropped our connection, so let's see if we can get you guys back here again now. All the fun joys of this whole internet crap. All right, so let's go back to this. So coming back to this, and I know that it's kind of difficult to see just because things don't always show up right, but these dots right here now are becoming less and less pronounced. So what I would want to do, oh, we're gone again. This stinks. Anyway, we'll keep going and see. Hopefully it will come back, and I'll try to keep an eye on it, make sure we don't disconnect again. So what happens is you start to spread that out and thin it out. Geez, I wonder if we just need to start a different time, like just try a different time rather than 1:45 in the afternoon, because it's just crazy. So anyway, you spread that out, and then once you have that area all done, you want to come back in and you want to start to clean up the surface of the top. And so I'm going to start off with a green scrubby. Okay, so this is a Scotch Brite. Wow, guys, maybe we won't get to do live videos anymore. This is crazy.
Change it to a different time. How many times do I have to say that?
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so hopefully... Oh, good grief. Well, all right, so we're going to keep going here for a little bit. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to use that green scrubby to start to kind of clean that off. And then I will come back in with some sandpaper and go over that. Now, obviously, I'm not going to do too much on here. This one's got a lot of stuff on here.
Metal?
It is. It is a piece of metal. And so this...
giant.
Yeah, it's a block. It's a forming or a bench block. Oh, I like your bracelet. Good job.
Down to there, though.
Well, that's okay. You can just kind of squeeze it and reshape it a little bit. Okay, so that's how you would take care of that. And it is going to take a while to do because you've got some dings and metal to move around. So that's how I do those larger surfaces. When I have a hammer, I will take the hammer face and I'll put the hammer like this into a vise so that the hammer face is sitting up. And then I would use, oh, I didn't bring another one over here, but I would use another, I know.
Lower your video quality.
I did lower the video quality, John. I did actually do that, and it is as low as it can go. Oh, goodness.
Did you even pay for ads?
I don't know what's up with it. So anyway.
You didn't pay for ads.
I did not pay for ads.
Why are you getting ads then?
I don't know.
You have to pay for ads.
Yeah?
At least that's what it's...
Anyway, so what you do when you've got a hammer is you'll take another planishing hammer with a good face and you'll do that same type of thing on the hammer face and you would get that all done. Now another thing that can be done, and let me pull you down to this camera. So another thing that can be done is to oh, Jason, she speaks her mind, this one, and there's no qualms about it for sure. So when I have a hammer that's, a hammer face that's kind of like this, is not, you think that's funny? They think you're funny. So, okay.
Funny.
Okay, so what I would do is I would take a file. Now this is going to be a file I'm not going to be using on silver or gold because I don't want to contaminate this.
Does that file make it smoother?
It does. So what I'm doing now is I'm smoothing out the different bumps.
What's this? More sandpaper stuff? It looks like a fluffy thing.
All right. So once I've got this done, then I would, and I want to keep sanding or filing this and sanding this until I have that nice surface where I've removed all of the dings and the dents. I hate that our connection is so bad. It doesn't make any sense.
Sorry, guys. Oh, no, we lost 2 people.
Well, we've lost a lot of people, baby.
I know.
Maybe they'll come back and catch it on the replay. Hopefully there will be a replay. We'll have to see. So anyway, so you can see now that the hammer fit surface is much, much better. There's still a few dings and dents in there.
Why does it have a bumpy thing?
This?
Yeah.
This one is actually one that you can put onto like a screw or a hammer, and you can, or a screw or a nail, and you can pop it out. So that's what that's meant for.
Things.
Yeah, so that one's a little different. So,
Look how small it is.
yep.
That's how small it is up here.
All right.
And that's how far it goes down, and that's as far as I can get.
Remember what I said about staying on task?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So, continue our broadcast. All right. So you guys, luckily I am recording this, but I'm not going to do an edited version, so we'll see how well it works.
Hang in there, guys.
Unable to connect to YouTube. No, it totally disconnected us now.
Sorry, guys.
So hopefully.
It's our connection. We should
They know.
change it.
That's okay. Let's just keep going. We're recording this and we'll just post it up on YouTube. So once I have this done, then I'm going to start in with some coarse grits of sandpaper. Now, in this case, this is only 320, so this is not very coarse. I would probably start with like maybe a 220 or even a 100 grit, and I would just come in here. Honey, you're blocking the camera. So anyway, I would come back in and I would finish off, and I would go finer grits of sandpaper as well. Let's see. So Felix said that he dressed all of his bodywork hammers last night with a compressed fiber wheel, which definitely would work.
I was reading that one.
Good. So it works, I know, it works extremely fast and well. So that is great. So let's see.
That doesn't look like sandpaper.
Yeah, and I've actually, Jason, I've actually dropped the resolution on as as well so that it would go, but obviously it's still not working well, and I apologize. So anyway, that's what you would do, and you would take that, and then after that I would start to get into my different buffing and sanding wheels on my flex shaft. Really, I don't do it by hand like this anymore. I use my jewel tool to do that. But when I did a jewel tool video, everybody was kind of like, well, that's great if we have a jewel tool, but it doesn't show us how to do it. So this, now I've showed you how to do it. So, okay. So all of my little technical issues aside, that is how we redo the face, and that's how we also redo our bench block. Now you would also want to take that and take it up to as high a polish as you are desiring. Usually when I do my hammers, I will take them to a nice fine finish. Hey guys, what are you talking about? We're doing a video.
Yeah.
But y'all are having a whole different conversation.
Fine.
Goobers. Okay, so that's what we have there. So next, what I want to do is sometimes I need to address even a nylon hammer. Okay, because my nylon hammers sometimes will get pretty beat up and dinged up, or sometimes they even have, you know, different imperfections that already come on them. Now, quite honestly, a nylon hammer should not be transferring too much onto your metal, but it definitely can happen. So again, I'm going to pull this down here, and I'm going to kind of follow it the same way. I'm just going to take a fairly coarse file, and I'm just going to go over the surface of this and remove anything that might be big and rough. Like this one right here in the middle of our hammer face. This one had a bump that kind of had a sharp point on it, and that one was causing some issues for me. Now there's little dings and dents in this, and I'm not at all worried about those. So I wouldn't worry about that too much because those are not really going to transfer. So there are a number of ways that you can do this. Obviously, it gets much faster as you start to use power tools, whether you're using a flex shaft or a grinder, or a belt sander, a jewel tool, anything like that, or a buffing machine. Obviously, it gets much, much faster, but I wanted to at least show you guys how to do it by hand if you needed to. It's okay. We're going to keep going anyway.
Hang in there.
Yep, we appreciate those of you guys who are waiting here with us, and hopefully it'll go well. And if not, like I said, I'm not going to spend the time editing the video, but I will at least see about uploading it. So the next thing I want to do, very good. Your wire goes backwards though, but it looks good. Yes. So the next thing, okay.
Ornaments.
Oh,
They
okay.
were supposed to be the earrings, but I guess we can make different earrings.
Yep, we can. All right. So the next thing I want to address are my pliers. Now this is a very, very inexpensive pair of pliers, and they still can be great. They just don't have a good finish on them yet. So similarly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be working here on my bench block. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of take off the sharp edge here on that round, or in this case, my flat nose pliers, because that sharp edge is definitely going to cause some issues. Well, it definitely can hurt somebody. I'm also going to take off kind of this sharp corner here.
6 thumbs up.
Good.
We need more thumbs up that are
They'll come.
like the thumbs up that is under the video.
Yep, they'll come. So again, I'm just going to kind of take off anything that is sharp on these pliers because that will cause an issue. So you're just knocking off those corner edges, but I'm not doing it enough to reshape my pliers at all.
But I'm not using any more of my unicorn earrings until like a while because I don't want to use all of them just in like one.
That's okay.
Like I probably will.
Honey, remember we talked about staying on task? Okay. So what I'm going to do, and this one had kind of an oxide layer, and you can see as I sand or file this away, you can see where I've got high spots and low spots. So I'm going to continue to file this until I at least get that nice flat surface. So this is definitely a much more aggressive move than if I were to just sand this. Okay, but you can see how long it's taking to get to that, and there's still quite a bit more to go. But once I have that done and I'm happy with how things feel, like you just want to take your fingers, run it over, your fingers are going to be your best guide because you can really feel how things are.
Get away from the sound.
What's that?
Get away from the sound.
Yeah, hurt your ears. Okay, so I would keep doing that. Then from there, again, I would move into my sanding sticks. And I would continue that. And these I'm not going to take to a high polish. I would only go to 400 grit on this. Do you know why, Kate? Why would I only go to 400 grit on our pliers?
Because you don't want to completely destroy them.
No, it's not even that I would destroy them. But why would I not want a high polish?
Because they're just going to get messed up anyway.
That would be one thing.
Oh.
It would be one thing if we said that it's, you know, we don't want to take it to a high polish because it's going to get messed up anyway. But really the case is that we want it to have a little bit of grip to it still. If you have a high polish, there's no grip.
Slippery.
There's no friction. Yes, it's very slippery. And so we don't want that. We want to have a little bit of friction there that we can use to hold things into place. Okay, so not a high polish. If you want to take it to a high polish, that's fine, you can do that, but then afterwards bring it back into that 400 grit sandpaper and kind of pull it back a little bit. Wow, Kiari, that's so not ladylike. All right, so I would do that for all of my pliers. When I'm working with a round nose plier, again, I'm going to do that same kind of thing, and you're just going to kind of work it around. So this is definitely where you're going to want to kind of have some movement or play in here on your bench pin that you can get into and kind of round that out and smooth it out. All right. Let's see. The next thing I want to cover really quickly, I'm going to come back over to the bench block a bit. So let me come back to this guy here, zoom out a little bit. When you are doing the bench block, let's pretend that you now have this completely done or you're still trying to work on it. One of the things that I like to do, so I've got the green scrubby, but the next thing that I like to do, especially as I'm working it, I will take, and this helps to remove some of the rust and stuff like that. I have a 4/0, or so the 4 zeros of my steel wool, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of machine oil onto this, and I would go through, and that's gonna help, and that's what I usually do as kind of my final coat on my machine. One, it's going to kind of help protect it a little bit because of the oil, but then also, and again, this is assuming that I've already removed all these marks, I've already done my sanding and everything like that, and then you'll just go back over it with the coat and this steel wool, and that is going to help really clean it all up really nice, and you would be ready to go.
Why do you call it steel wool?
Okay, why is it called steel wool? So you know what wool is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's really soft and fibrous and everything like that.
That one's like all hard.
But it's not though, feel it, come here.
It has.
Okay, now right there is where I have all the oil, so hold it, do it down here. But you see how soft that is? Mm-hmm. Okay. This is steel wool, and in this case, this is a really, really fine one. There's a lot of them. Like, you know how we have that one upstairs in the kitchen by the pots and pans? Mm-hmm. And it's really, really hard. That's the hard one. It's also steel wool, but you've got various thicknesses and thinnesses of the fiber. This is a really fine one. So when I go over this one, the scratches that it's gonna make are really, really fine.
Really tiny.
Very tiny. Whereas like if we were to use that one that we use on the pots and pans,
It'll go.
oh yeah, it's gonna create some big scratches, huh? So, well you guys, this video, I think we've at least covered everything. I'm gonna go and I'll just upload the video, the recording, because this is crazy. But I'm not going to edit it, so we'll see how long it takes. Hopefully it won't take very long at all. What, sweetie?
What are we gonna do then?
What do you mean, what are we gonna do? We're done. We've covered what we were gonna cover.
We're already done.
We're already done. Hey, but I do want to show you guys really quickly a cool tool, and I just posted the video on these yesterday. This is something that's new for Fordham to be carrying, and it's a tool that Oro Brush does. And so Fordham has brought it in from Oro, and I love this because what you can do, so notice this, so there's our sandpaper right here. You can flip this open, you can take off the sandpaper.
And put a new one on?
And you can put a different one on. What happened to my other one? I had one here. Oh, it's right here. So you can put whatever grit sandpaper you want, or you just would kind of put it in there, fold it around, and I show how to do that in the video. Fold it around, put it on, and now you're ready to go. So it makes it super, super simple, and it comes also in round.
That'd be good.
So you've got square and round. What's that?
That'd be good for doll customizing.
It would be good for doll customizing. Maybe we'll have to order you some.
She does doll
Don't you dare steal mine, because if you do, you're in big trouble. All right, you guys, I think we're going to call it a day. Thank you so much for bearing with us, those of you guys.
We've been doing this for half an hour. Thank you, guys.
I know, and the majority of the time has been technical issues. It's crazy. So maybe what we'll do is I'm going to play around with the bandwidth and look at the bandwidth at different periods of time in the day, and we'll follow Kiari's suggestion maybe, and we'll see if it works better at different times of the day, and if it does, then we'll try it at a different time of day. All right, so maybe 1:45 is just not our magic hour.
Nope.
Thank you for joining us, and we will talk with you guys all soon. Bye.
We've been doing this for 31 minutes and 29 seconds.
Now if only the whole thing had been good.